Hello and welcome to another Win Daily Sports Show. My name is Michael Brazil. I got my men. I got Sia Najad. I got Stix Picks here with me, and it's a good day. Everybody had a good day. A lot of same stuff, different day kind of days. It sounds like, but we all had a good one. As I was telling you, Sia, I'm a little frazzled right now. I just killed a bug, so I have a one of those like hand vacuums, and I got it in there, but I can see inside, and it was still alive. So I was kind of torturing it for a little bit, and it was uncomfortable to say the least. Sia, how was your day though?
Wow, that is kind of dramatic and awful. My day wasn't as good as Nick's day on Sunday. Oh, by the way, I heard, and I'm not going to disclose any amounts. Nick, that's up to you if you want to disclose any of that. But I heard there's a theory going around that in the DFS community, if you work with somebody that makes a certain sum of money, that when there's a Win Daily Vegas trip, that person basically has to sponsor everybody's airfare and hotel fare for that trip. I don't know, Nick. I don't know if you're aware of that, but
Yeah,
I'm the lawyer of the group, and FYI, that's definitely a thing.
I
would love to, but if I have 8 bag weeks in a row, I could piss it all away. So
Nick, you haven't had 8 bag weeks in like 3 years. Don't give me that.
Yeah, it's been like 7, but who's counting?
Well, we are counting. So if you have 8 good weeks in a row, then I'm going to actually implement that statutory rule that I just made up.
Oh yeah, if I could do that 3 more times, everything we'll get a suite. We'll piss half of it away for sure.
No. Don't be
quarter of it.
I mean, it's your money, so I'm not here to tell you what to do. But if you're just gonna piss it away, just give it to me instead. But anyway, we're here to help you win money. That's actually why we're here today. We are here. We're talking all the lines. We're talking against the spread. We're talking totals for Week 7 of the NFL. Nick's been on to Week 7 since Monday, as you all have heard. But we're here now. We're here to help. If you haven't listened to the recap show, last week I did it with Sia. It was fantastic. This week I did it with Stix. I don't know. Maybe that's that juju stuff we're talking about. I don't know. Maybe there's a little too much chi in that space. Maybe we should have Sia do the recap show, give you some more time with the projections, Nick. I don't know. I don't know. But we're here to help, and we're here to look at some lines. And I'm very, very excited. Actually, Nick, I didn't ask you how your day was, though. I forgot. I was asking Sia, and then he started talking about statutory stuff or something.
You're good. I did a lot of projections today. Not done. Went to work, obviously.
Awesome.
Had some meetings that were me doing the Thursday night football projections, of course. A little bit of time theft, nothing crazy. I got a lawyer, so he'll back me up. Other than that, no, I'm ready to go. I'm excited for this upcoming week. Thursday night game's probably going to be boring as hell, but what are you going to do?
You're going to bet on it.
Michael's team's playing.
I mean, not if you already have a big bet on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very.
You get the early line. You probably did get the early line, didn't you?
Probably.
Well, the early line was no, I didn't get the early line. I waited for the early line to go down, but we can get to that game obviously first.
Well, that'll be the first game.
He's on Philly.
We're gonna get to the game. We're gonna get to the game, but just so you, Nick, I thought we've been doing this long enough, so I think you kind of know me. I'm a pretty pessimistic fan. Mets, Giants the last few years, so I'm really kind of a really pessimistic fan. So I don't know why you think I would think it's gonna be a good game at all. But let's start there. We have the Giants Eagles, as Nick was saying. The line opened -6.5 to the Eagles. It's actually come down to about 4.5. We have a total of 45. And Sia, you already have a big bet on this game. Talk to me, man. Where are you going with it?
So when I first saw the line, it had already been bet down to 4. So I decided, and I don't advocate for this, and this is the only bet this week that I'm going to have like this because I don't like teases and I don't really prefer money line parlays. You either like a line or you don't. But I went ahead and did a money line parlay, which paid about even money with the Eagles and the Los Angeles Chargers. So we'll get to the Chargers game later. That game's at 7.5. I also like that one. Listen, I like dogs just as much as the next guy. These are 2 favorites. That's why I just kind of bought the line down to nothing. But I just love the spot for the Eagles here. As injured as they are, the Giants should have lost to Washington last week. They got outgained in whether it was time of possession or yards or first downs, literally every metric they lost in. And if Rivera had tied the game up, they probably would have won that game in overtime. And I think the Eagles have a legit shot at the NFC East. So it's time for them to turn it on a bit.
Considering what we saw out of the Cowboys on Monday, I honestly would say the Washington Football Club and the Giants technically, I think they actually do. You win enough stupid games, they actually might have a shot at the NFC East as well. Stix, I know you were saying we're bringing out a new model now, right? AETT, if I'm not mistaken. Could you explain to the people? this newfangled
yeah.
tool we're going to be using?
Yeah, it's adjusted expected team totals. It's pretty much team totals without kickers factors in. So, and you go to any Vegas side, any other lineup optimizer side, anything out there, you're getting all these numbers that are just in quarter decimals. So, and so many teams are the same. You get Detroit 26.5, and then you get another team, Arizona 26.5. Like, these teams are not exactly the same. So what I did is kind of use the 80 model to project actual fantasy production and touchdowns, expected touchdowns. Obviously, we can't just say DeAndre Swift's going to score 3 touchdowns and he's going to score 3 touchdowns. He could be in a position to score, 2.6, which is a little more, on the better half of 2. Things like that. I mean, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm kind of a mad scientist with
it's cool. I'm watching the game anyway, so you keep going. You're doing great.
No, please go. This is good stuff.
But yeah, it's basically just taking team totals for fantasy production only, like stuff we care about. We can't roster kickers on the main slate, so why should you be looking at numbers that have kickers factored in? Obviously, most of them are going to be similar, like Detroit, if they're a 26.5 implied team total. Let's go to my number, because I just did Detroit before we got on this call. I have them for 22.7 expected points without a kicker. So either Vegas is low on this 26.5, or Matt Prater is only going to kick, 1.2 field goals. So irrelevant to me. But basically what this does, it helps me, one, identify stacks that I may not be looking for, because some of these numbers are much higher than if you just took out a couple field goals, and it's hard to kind of handicap field goals. But basically that's what it does. And then so I have both teams' numbers, and I have a weighted formula in there that should kick out what the expected spread is. That does have kickers into that based on, history, but more home teams kick field goals than away teams, actually, from recent stats, or they're more likely to make them, because some teams practice on their home field, some don't. But again, I'm getting on some stupid ass tangent here. But basically, I've been keeping an eye on it all year long, and it's been back testing, I think, at a 68% hit rate. I know I told Tulak about it on Monday for the 2 games, and it had Arizona winning outright, which isn't that, ballsy of a call by any means. The game was a pick 'em, but I think it had Arizona minus 1.8 was the line that we had. The expected line is what I call it. And then Kansas City had them like minus 7.5, and the line was 5.5, or it was like 7.7. So there was a ton of value on Kansas City. I could have got backdoored there hard at the end. Like, that game was Buffalo's for the backdoor cover, but it was 2 for 2 Monday, and it's something that I've kind of been sitting on because I don't want to put it out there for the public or for the Win Daily team and not be confident with it. So I think this is probably the last week I'll sit on it and make sure that this formula is correct. But if it has another big day Sunday, and I'll be in Discord giving away like what it actually is saying, whether or not you guys actually want to follow them. I've been doing it every week. I've been betting small on it just because it's more for my bet tracking. I want to see what the actual ROI is. And it also has a value calculator based on the VIG or the juice, whatever you want to call it. So it's going to have a differentiator based on the team's adjusted expected team totals. And then based on the juice, it'll give us like an actual edge. So let's say a team has a 1.8 adjusted expected team total difference in the lines minus 115. That may not be worth betting, but if it's minus 105, our expected value goes up. So working on a whole betting model for everybody to go along with the 80 model, because the 80 model is working for players in fantasy projection. So I don't want to change much. So I got to get on to something else.
Yeah, you got to do something else. And we appreciate the hell out of you for that. And yes, anybody that hasn't heard yet, if you're not following along on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere else, Stix had a pretty great weekend, as Sia was talking about before. A pretty great weekend with a Win Daily family member in a live seats, or I guess I don't really know exactly how we're doing it.
It's gonna be virtual.
Yeah, so. Virtual live seat at a DraftKings finals for the NFL, and we know that the Saints and who else are in a dome? I can't remember. I know you're already
Kansas City, baby.
Yeah,
we got Mahomes in the dome.
Should be a lot of fun. Pat Mahomes in a dome. I like to see that. And also, don't forget, you can get all Stix's 80 model picks in our Win Daily Sports Betting membership. It's $49.99 a month. You get all of his picks. Sia throws some picks in there. Nick throws other picks in there. And then we actually have a house capper who's been crushing it lately. We just had a 20-unit weekend, I think 2 weekends ago, for college football and NFL. So, and his picks, his units are bigger than yours and mine. Maybe not as big as Stix's, but, mine, I would say mine, actually, now that I'm looking at Sia too. His units are bigger than mine. Like much bigger. And yeah, plus 20 it's a lot, in case you guys are
wondering. Not the size of your unit. It's how you use it. as long as you're winning.
As long as you're winning, yes. ROI, I think that's what you were looking for there, bud. But yeah, I do love it. So okay, let's put this to the test a little bit. The AE, what do we? 80 had a nice ring to it.
Yeah,
8 is kind of weird. So I don't know. We'll have to work
don't
on
even
something
call
there.
it anything, just call it something. We'll get a better name if anybody out there has a better name for it.
We'll figure out the name. We'll definitely figure out the name. But anyway, so okay, you were talking the Giants. It's plus 4.5 to the Giants, minus 4.5 to the Eagles, minus 108. You can get the Giants, minus 110. You can get the Eagles. Did you do the math for us yet, or am I kind of putting you on the spot?
Yes, I have the number of Philly minus 3.8. So I did check a couple books, and you can get New York plus 4.5 at minus 105. I would take that, but for me to like the Giants here and to see an opening line of plus 6.5, it's probably just a sit on. Like, you're not going to buy a $10 scratch off for $15, right? So
no,
that's kind of how I look at it. We missed the value here. It's something we should have bet early Monday, and Sharps already beat us to it. But so it's interesting seeing Seal like Philly. Like, dude, how are they going to score? New York can pass all over. I mean, they can't pass all over anybody, but
the Giants.
Avonte Maddox is likely out again.
So I mean, this comes down to
5 offensive touchdowns this year, dude. 5.
So listen,
I didn't say they're going to score a lot.
This comes down to the Eagles' defensive line and the worst offensive line in football. The pressure rate for the Eagles is really high as it relates to the rest of the 31 teams, and the Giants literally have, statistically the worst offensive line in football. So I think that's actually where the game is won. And as turnover prone as Daniel Jones is, it's just a recipe for disaster as far as I'm concerned. We know Slayton's a little banged up. Even if he's not banged up, Daniel Jones hasn't really proved he can get the ball to his receivers on a consistent basis, whether that's Ingram or Slayton or Golden Tate. And honestly, the way Fulgham has stepped up and Boston Scott seems like an adequate enough backup, and the Eagles, just from a pedigree standpoint and a coaching standpoint, they win in that area too. So I think this is at least, I guess I would have liked the Giants value at 6.5, but I think this is a 7-point game. I think the Eagles take this by 7 or more.
Yeah, I don't think the Giants score much. There's going to be a turnover, probably a turnover return for a touchdown. What else? Oh, Bart Scott, starting running back. We saw what he did against the Giants twice last year. Tore him up. Just absolutely. I know, but it's funnier to say Bart Scott. So it's like Greg Kittle. Like, where's the fun in saying George, right?
So many people say Greg. You're not alone.
It's a Barstool thing. Yeah, it's a thing.
I'm not a Barstool guy. I got to get with it.
Yeah, they're not that great. There's like 2 shows that matter, but it's really not a big deal. Anyway, we got some questions coming in. Rodney wants to know, can he use your picks in smaller GPP lineups? Absolutely, Rodney. You can use his pick wherever you want. Nick has a cash game article. He has a GPP article. Sign up for gold.
And by the way, sign up for gold and sign up for the sports betting. Just go to windailysports.com. I mean, it'll kind of take you where you want to go from a sign up standpoint. But Nick's also on with us every Saturday night on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Channel, usually on for a couple segments. So he kind of like gives a lot of the games he likes and a lot of the players that he likes. So there's so many avenues. I mean, obviously the expert chat and the Discord and the articles behind the paywall and the sports bets behind the pay. Those are obviously like the really, really like solid stuff you can get every week, but we have a lot of this stuff available on the live stream and on SiriusXM as well. So keep that in mind. Just stay tuned, so to speak.
11
or just like or DM me, because I don't know if you're actually signed up or not. So
yeah, see, that works too. Jason's not watching, so it really doesn't matter, so it's fine. Moving on. So the Giants probably lose. I'm going to side with Sia here. I honestly would have taken the Eagles at minus 6.5. Hopefully I'm wrong, but like not really. Actually, I don't even know what I want from this season anymore. Moving on, we have the Packers opening.
So hang on. Sorry to interrupt, but when Tipton chimes in, I always want to kind of like shed some light on what he's saying.
I'm watching the game. It's kind of like in the way. I can't see.
Okay, it could just be me and Nick, man. If you're distracted, like it's fine. Well,
I just can't see that far down.
Can
on
you
the
come
comments,
in and be the moderator, Tipton? Maybe
he can. He wants.
I don't think Tipton's busy right now. Speaking of Tipton, he's coming on with us soon. But Tipton, who of course worked for Covers.com, had his own sort of like handicapping site as well, which I don't know if it might still exist. But he's mentioning, Deshaun Jackson, who was back, is going to draw that Bradbury coverage, which is good because that's actually going to probably, I think the implication there is that's going to actually leave Fulgham with one of the weak corners, because Bradbury is obviously a pretty decent corner for the Giants. So Deshaun drawing that coverage actually is going to ease things up. Ertz doesn't look like he's playing, but the other receivers should be able to feast against this terrible defense.
The defense is bad. It's bad.
I would never want to tout. Now we're getting into DFS. You can't take the DFS out of me, but
never want to.
I would never think of Deshaun Jackson as a big threat anymore. I know he's like 40% owned in week 1. That was funny. The easiest fade there's ever been in the game of fades. But Bradbury's not fast. That's not a matchup I'm concerned about at all. But I don't like Deshaun Jackson to begin with. But everything Sia said, 100%. Like quarterbacks just avoid him, I guess. Like they just think because Bradbury is the best player on that defense, most likely.
It was like Nnamdi Asomugha on the Raiders, remember? And then it turns out he just sucked because he was on the Raiders. Like that's all it was.
But yeah, no, I don't think that if you like Deshaun Jackson, I personally don't at all. But if you do, like Bradbury should not scare you off that at all. He could burn him on one play.
Yes,
but is Deshaun? I don't know. Deshaun Jackson's going
to be clear that's not a DFS comment in terms of drawing the Bradbury.
I know, but
it's just you're soaking up the best defender potentially with a guy who's basically not going to get a lot of touches, but if he soaks up the coverage, that's going to leave things open for the other guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would say, as big a Giants fan as I am, I don't think we need to spend more than 10 minutes on this game, which we already have. And Miller Lite was the answer to that. Yes, to that question. So now we'll move on. Stix, we'll start here with you. Packers open -3, now up to 3.5 over the Texans. Over under 57.5. So I guess they either respect Deshaun Watson without BOB, or they think the Packers defense is as bad as it looked last week. How do you feel about this game, Stix, -3.5 to the Packers? Your Packers.
Yeah. I like the Packers on the bounce back here. I wish it was 3. So
opened at 3.
Are we forcing a bet? Like I have to take a side?
I mean,
that's the purpose of the show.
Well, yeah, you can say you're going to stay away, but if you had to take it, what would you take?
Yeah,
if I had to take it,
but we're going to count it if you're right or wrong, though. So just want to make sure of that. So just in case.
Fine. Oh boy.
97% of the money is on the Packers, if that helps.
Yeah, give me Houston just because that's too many. Deshaun Watson is just incredible right now. So I want Watson at home with the hook at 3.5. If it was 3, I think I'd take the Packers, but this is stay away from me.
Stay away. See ya.
So you said 97% of the money's on the Packers, but how what? There's a statistic that goes with that.
58% of the bets.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So and you kind of have to know those in tandem, right? Mm-hmm. So I like. Man, I hate to take favorites. I really do. I just took one in the Thursday night game. I do like the Packers at a bounce back spot. And the Texans have started games as good as Deshaun's been lately, and he's just racked up the yardage and the touchdowns. But they've been doing that mostly in the second half. And I think if you get behind the Packers here and Aaron Jones just starts running downhill, I think it's a recipe for disaster. So given their slow starts, I like the Packers in this one. I actually like the Packers first half as well, whatever that line happens to be. It'll probably
you know what? Fuck it. I'm in. Give me the Packers. Yes. Packers by 1 million.
Wow.
Now that I think about it, they don't have the defense to punch Aaron Rodgers in the mouth like Tampa Bay just did last week, and they do not have the running game to beat Green Bay's weakness on defense, which is their runners. Will Fuller and Jair Alexander, that'll be, kind of I like the under in this game, I think, too. I think, Green Bay by a bunch. Thanks, Sia, you talked me into it. But, yeah, now that I look at it, why did I like Tampa Bay so much last week is because Ronald Jones in this running game and how efficient Tampa Bay is on running the football. Houston ranks in the bottom 10 in rushing offense efficiency. That's how you beat the Packers. Packers by a lot. Yeah, I love the first half line. First half line's the best. I would have never looked at that. Good call.
Yeah, I think the Packers roll them over, especially after what happened. As long as they kind of come out, I think it's one of those Aaron Rodgers against the Falcons, Aaron Rodgers against the Vikings game where they put up an easy 40. I can understand wanting the under on that game, but man, that just seems like a lot of fun. So good luck. Hopefully for your Stix. I'm rooting for you. Moving on, we have the Cowboys traveling down, or I guess up, to Washington to take on the Washington Football Club. Line opened -3.5 to the Cowboys. It's down to -1 to the Cowboys, and that's with 65% of the bets and 60% of the money coming in on the Cowboys. So kind of curious about that. We have an over-under. Started at 49, came all the way down to 46. I guess people don't believe Andy Dalton is capable. I'll start with you, a resident Washington Football Club fan. How are you going to be playing this game?
Well, I mean, it's not as much, in my opinion, it's not as much an Andy Dalton issue as the entire offensive line is injured. Like now the entire offensive line actually is injured.
Yeah.
Because they had Zach Martin go down last game. So, Andy Dalton, so let's put it this way. If you have a bad offensive line and you are an immobile quarterback in this day and age of the NFL, you're basically dead. Like even if you're playing against an Arizona team that doesn't have Chandler Jones, like you're in really big trouble. You got to be able to move a little bit. So, which is why like a Joe Burrow could succeed some games behind a bad offensive line. Although, and he has the same weapons, frankly, same talent as Andy, I suppose. But I don't really know. This is definitely a stay away for me. I mean, Washington was my favorite bet last week, and I cashed there. They should have won outright, like I said. But if I had to take this, because Washington has such a problem finishing games, I would take the Cowboys, because at the end of the day, I just see Andy Dalton rebounding just enough. They've got the skill players. Obviously, they have Zeke and the trio of receivers. So I think when it comes down to crunch time, I think Andy Dalton's going to be better than Kyle Allen. That's the difference to me.
Yeah, I really don't think you're going too far out on a stretch with that one. And I like it. It makes sense. And yeah, I have to bring it up. See, I know you see it. I mean, our good friend Zach, Win Daily Sports writer over here, we appreciate you. RG3 to the Cowboys, or even the football team. I think the football team's out of the way, but the Cowboys, honestly, I think that would be a step up.
No, in all seriousness, I actually thought of that when Andy Dalton was having his tragic, meltdown. And it wasn't all his fault. Zeke fumbled a couple times too, but RG3 is a Texas boy. Jerry Jones loves the splash with a big name. If you're talking about, I know like we're all like, we laugh about RG3, but if you're talking about a Band-Aid until, next season when Dak Prescott comes back, because he will be the quarterback there under an actual contract this time. That's a decent Band-Aid to potentially get to the playoffs in the NFC East. Now, if we're talking the NFC North, like, why would you do that? But like, if you don't believe in Andy Dalton and he can't move around and you have all these skill players, and that if you just buy an extra second or a second and a half to get it to CeeDee Lamb or Gallup or Amari Cooper, or even Dalton Schultz or Ezekiel, like RG3 can do that and Dalton can't. So I don't think it's like that. And honestly, I guarantee you, based on the interview that we did, we all saw it. Yep. There's no way that hasn't crossed RG3's mind either. There is no way a guy who played at Baylor that it didn't, when he was watching that game, that didn't cross his mind, like, they might be calling me. So will it happen? Probably not, but it's a fair question. As much of a fanboy as I am, it's actually a fair question.
It definitely comes off like that too, but I love it. I love seeing you get all like excited and stuff. It's fun. And I mean, hey, it's legitimate. I mean, as bad as Andy Dalton looked, I mean, why not? Friend of the show, RG3. We love him. We appreciate him. Go donate to his charity. It's a great one, a foundation. Stix, what do you got on this game? -1 to the Cowboys. Hey, Joe, that's not cool, man. RG3 is not a scrub. Go watch the interview. You'll gain a much more respect for him because he actually is a pretty cool guy. Awesome. Sorry, Nick. I'm sorry. It got me a little frazzled there. -1 to the Cowboys, over under 46. You don't have to play it. You're also on mute, so just want to make sure of that. But how are you feeling about this game? You're still on mute. You are on mute, and we cannot hear you. Yeah. There we go.
My bad.
I read your lips, though. That was pretty fun.
This game sucks. I want nothing to do with it at all, but I second everything Sia said about the offensive line. That is a great analysis there, because there's no one left on that offensive line. It's going to be check down city to Zeke. I don't like, how do the Cowboys lose? So like, you just gotta trust them, or
I think Riverboat Ron is trying to lose as well, because I think he knew he wasn't getting that 2-point conversion. I think he knew.
I wish he would have. See, and I had the money line.
Me too. I kind of wish he would have too. But either way, I mean, hey, depending on who wins that Giants-Eagles game, the Giants win, I think they'd be in first place, right? Like, this division is just such shit, and I love it. I love every second of it. But anything,
I guess Dallas is my punt play. Sure. I hate it though.
Play. I appreciate that. Let's move on. We've done a total of 3 games, and we're like 25 minutes into this thing. So hopefully the people out there are having some fun with us at the least. And I'm still watching the game. Dodgers are losing 1-0. We got the Lions traveling down to Atlanta. Atlanta favored by 2.5. Never like to see that. They just got their first win of the year last Sunday as well. Over under at 55.5. Stix. How do you feel about Atlanta giving away 2 points? I don't think this Lions team's that good, but we know the Falcons are terrible. Kenny Golladay is just going to eat them up. Nom, 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 nom.
Marvin Jones is going to have a big day too.
Okay, cool.
He's going to get to see the most of Kendall Sheffield, but again, I think this is a DFS show. It's not.
You can add it in. Like, we're not angry, especially because you're not even making any bets. You're like, oh, I don't want to bet this game, so I'll just agree with Sia. You could do the DFS side, and Sia can do the betting. We don't care. We're just here to have a good time.
I did just chug that beer. Why'd you chug? Why not? It's Wednesday.
Yeah, who are you?
I would love to see Detroit get 3, and then I'd buy in just 2.5. It's such a. I hate those lines, because it's pretty much a pick 'em at that point. So, why do I like Detroit?
Interesting. DeAndre Swift, he actually opened up. I think as you and Sia both said, hey, watch out for DeAndre Swift after the bye week. You told me to go buy low. I couldn't, unfortunately, get him. Sia on the betting show last week said, hey, look out for DeAndre Swift. He's probably going to do something. So it's like either you guys talk, like you work at the same company, or you're both just this friggin' smart. I don't know. I think it's
Yeah, we were talking about DeAndre Swift 2 weeks ago. So
DeAndre Swift just got dealt for Lamar Jackson in a league that I'm in. A couple picks were involved, but it was an interesting trade.
Okay.
There were some picks, but it was a weird trade. Weird trade. Someone's fire sale on a little bit. It's unfortunate. Sorry, Justin. Love you. But
I think I like Detroit. They just got more to play for right now, but Atlanta looked good last week. But Detroit's defense is so much better than Minnesota's. So it's like Detroit wants to run the ball. They can't really run on Atlanta. I don't care why everybody thinks that's such a good matchup. Everybody with Madison last week. I don't get it. You could pass to the running back against Atlanta, but okay, because they kind of play that sag defense, the bend don't break type of thing that Dan Quinn used to run. Now it looks like they're kind of going back to that, or whatever Seattle used to run. I think is kind of that whole scheme there of I don't know, cover 3 maybe. Someone out there smarter than me, let me know.
Stoby, if you're watching.
I don't know, you could run all over Detroit, but then it's
Todd
Gurley. So it's I don't know, man. I like Detroit. I'll just take the points, but I would love to see 3, but I don't see this line moving any. It's just it's a terrible game to bet because it's not going to move from 2.5.
Yeah, we have pretty much 50% of the bets and 50% of the money on both sides of that. And
tease Detroit, maybe tease Detroit with somebody. You got any teaser picks? See you. You like Philly at the money line?
Teasing the Chargers down is a solid play against Jacksonville. We'll get there.
Yeah, I would like to tease Detroit. I think that's my play. I'm gonna grab a beer though.
Yeah,
I'll use
we'll be here.
I like the Falcons here. I mean, this is not one of my favorite games. I have like 4 or 5 games that I actually like today or for Sunday and Monday, but this one's Falcons. I just think the Falcons with Julio healthy. We've seen, when I kind of like the Lions when they played the Packers. And I think that was 2 weeks ago. And they sort of like jumped on them early. And then Aaron Rodgers just completely tore them apart. Now, obviously, Matt Ryan isn't Aaron Rodgers. But when you have Julio and Ridley and, Gage and Todd Gurley, catching passes, I just think the offense is going to be too much for the Lions. This Lions defense is pretty bad. So, notwithstanding, I think this is potentially a high-scoring game. I mean, I'm seeing the total at 55. That's pretty high. But I think the Falcons end up putting up too many points here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. And you gave us some correct English. I appreciate you there. Let's move on. This is a fun one. Barn burner. We got the Jets and the Bills. Bills minus 3.5. Minus 13.5. Opened up at minus 10, all the way up to minus 13.5. Over under of 45. So just some quick math. They really don't think the Jets are going to score at all. Sia, do the Jets even score, actually? I mean, they didn't score against the Dolphins. I mean, the Bills' defense is good enough, right? I don't know.
Yeah, so last week...
They actually played once this year already. No, wait. No, they didn't. Did they? I don't remember.
I think week 1 they might have played, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they played week 1, and the Bills won.
Thank you.
Obviously. So last week I kind of liked the Jets because I think the line was like 12.5 and they were playing Miami. And I'm like, listen, at a certain point, you have to go the other way. It's like the bookmakers are making these lines. They're not just like, hey, we're going to lose this one too. Like they're trying, so I don't know if we're there yet because 13.5 seems kind of small. Like if this was 14.5, the line would have made a little bit more sense to me. Man, I just don't think over 4 quarters the Jets can do it. Oh, wow. That is interesting. So that's your model, right?
Yeah, that's really close.
So for those of you listening, the model that Nick was just talking about at the beginning of the show, he literally has it at 13.22. So, I mean, that's like right on. So obviously what the suggestion there is there's really no value either way in terms of betting this, right, Nick?
Right. If we can get 14.5, I will take the Jets. I've never bet them once this year, but I think it's time.
I'll tell you right now.
Buffalo's defense is so bad, and they're banged up too. Is Tread White still out again?
No, I think he's playing.
No,
actually.
he's back. Yeah.
Okay. That changes things a little bit. The model has him as doubtful, so I just don't project him then. But if it gets to 14, I'm still buying it. It's a division game, right? So
it'll go up to 14 on Sunday. I guarantee it'll go up to 14 by Sunday.
All right, give me the Jets if it gets to 14. If not, can I wait to 14.5, or do you think it's not going any higher than that?
I think it could go to 14.5. I think it's possible. I doubt it, but I think 14 is definitely happening.
All right, I like that because it's division game. Jets are at home. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot this year, but the old football thinker in me still values home field advantage. But yeah, division game. They can't be that. Like, this has to be Gase's last day, right? Unless he has
I hope so.
just so much leverage over the ownership. Like, if they had some eyes wide shut party and Gase just snuck in and took a bunch of pictures, like, my job is good to go, maybe. But I don't know if those things still exist.
For
if that's just like the Wolf of Wall Street.
For anybody that's about my age out there, go just, I guess, like Wikipedia Eyes Wide Shut the movie. And you'll kind of get that reference a little bit more. But
wait, hold on. Why would they fire Adam Gase? Why would they fire somebody who's doing exactly what they want them to do, which is tank for Trevor? Like,
so
I understand.
Are they done with Darnold?
What's that?
They're done with Darnold?
Well, it doesn't matter. Trevor, we know objectively at this point that Trevor Lawrence is better than Sam Darnold. I think everybody kind of agrees with that sentiment because we've seen enough of a sample size of Darnold. So you can still draft Trevor Lawrence and trade Darnold to a team like the Washington football team, for example, for a couple of really, really high picks because he still has value. So if I'm them, instead of dealing the pick, if that's what they get, the first pick, I would just draft Trevor and get 2 second-round picks for Darnold and call it a day. You're good to go. But the point is firing Adam Gase doesn't really help you one way or the other. I mean, he's making all the wrong decisions. He's not a good motivator. He's not a good coach. The players on the field are trying because they have to. It's a business for them. But, if you're not in the right places and you're not starting the right guys, then, why would you fire him? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Your fan base deserves him gone, right? Unless you're just clearly saying we're not doing anything. Unless the fan base wants that, then by all means, roll Gase out there because he's the man for the job. But I would love to see Darnold just have a good offensive line and a couple weapons. Like, the best weapon he's ever had is Robbie Anderson. Sure, he's proven to be a wide receiver 1 right now in Carolina. But I don't know. I just don't think Darnold is that bad to give up on him yet, but this team's like they're not going to be a quick rebuild. So I don't know.
Yeah, R.I.P. Trevor Lawrence. That's really all I can say about that one. And yeah, I think the Bills cover 13.5. I think the Bills cover 14.5. Honestly, I don't think the Jets score like maybe 1 touchdown. Joe Flacco, guys, we're talking about like a 90-year-old.
Darnold could play maybe. Darnold may be back.
Not if they want to pretend to try and win, right?
So I think one of the reasons, and if you want to tease a game, this would be the game to tease right now, like do like a full 7-point tease, because one of the reasons this will definitely click up to 14 is because it kind of like mitigates the liability on the tease, because you're going to lose on that tie teasing it down to 7. So that's why I think it's definitely clicking up to 14 or maybe even 14.5, so that like you can't tease it and just fall under the touchdown. So yeah, I would just wait on this line if you want to take the Jets.
Love it. Don't.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more.
Just don't take this game. If you're going to take the Jets, just don't take the game. That's going to be my advice. Yeah. Moving on, we have the Carolina Panthers traveling down to NOLA. The Saints. I heard the Saints are going to try and play at in Baton Rouge in LSU because they can't. No, they're not going to do that anymore.
Not anymore. That was an idea, but now they're allowing some fans into their actual stadium, so that's going to be a thing.
And you can't have Drew Brees play outside, can you?
Yeah, I think that's the more important piece of this. But we have the Saints at -7.5. We have an over/under of 51. We have Michael Thomas coming back. He was hurt for a couple weeks, then he was a dickhead for a week, and then they had a bye week, and now he should be back. So Drew Brees should be back to, 45-year-old Drew Brees with a little noodle arm there. So, Nick, I think we opened with Sia. We'll open with you. I think we opened with Nick last time. I don't really remember, honestly, guys, but -7.5 to the Saints, over under 51. Just a little information: 41% of the bets on the Panthers, 67% of the money. So it's interesting. Something to note.
Yeah, I like the Panthers here. I'll take the dog. I love that there's a hook here. I just don't think the Saints have been playing great football really on it. First of all, so the model, for those of you listening on the podcast, so Nick is showing what the model is showing. He's showing basically no value either way, because he's showing basically 7.4. I think 9 is what I just saw. So with that said, give me the dog here because we know Carolina can move the ball. I'm actually curious because Tipton lives in Carolina and is a big kind of an insider for that team. But yeah, I mean, Drew Brees doesn't look great. Lattimore looks terrible. Like your alleged best cornerback who's basically probably going to be on Robbie Anderson. And let's forget about DJ Moore and and Curtis Samuel for a second. Like, how are they going to cover these receivers? I mean, the defensive line proved to us a couple weeks ago that this is not the defensive line that just gets to the quarterback automatically anymore. So Teddy's going to have some time. I suppose you could have the revenge game narrative, although he left it amicably, obviously. But no, 7.5 is too much. If anything, I always talk about the backdoor cover. I mean, it's a prime spot for a backdoor cover, but it wouldn't shock me if the Panthers win this game outright, because the Saints have been super underwhelming, particularly Drew Brees and the back end of their defense.
Yes. We do have a comment from Tipton, though. New Orleans might have 2 healthy corners. Thomas back. Carolina, no Short, no Matos. Davis might be hobbled. He's on the Saints. Stix.
Okay, interesting.
About it. Model says no, so we know you're not going to play it. But what would your head say? No, what would your heart say? That's what I think we're going with.
I would wait for New Orleans -7, and I would take that in a heartbeat. I think the pass rush is going to be there for New Orleans, and that really, really aggravated Teddy last week with the Bears. So I like that a lot. You can't really run on New Orleans. And Mike Davis, I don't like him. They just don't play that up pace. Kind of like the under. It seems like a lot of points for teams that are, not stretching the field, 1, and 2, play quite slow. It's going to be Alvin Kamara chalk week in DFS. Obviously, it's Carolina. Would love to see the touchdown odds on our boy Lat Murray for 2 touchdowns again. See if we can get 15
I'll
to
just
1.
Take it for fun, honestly.
I think Ghost got 30 to 1. Ghost got 30 to 1 on that offshore. He told me the day of the stream, and I completely forgot about it. Yeah,
wow.
It was so. I don't know if he ever got paid because it's offshore, but his ticket cashed. But yeah, I like New Orleans. I'm with Tip here. This team should be close to 100% healthy. They need a win, so. And it's Carolina. Like, this team is kind of overachieved, in my opinion. The defense is not that good. It's still Mike Davis. I can't buy into him ever. But DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, we need to see Lattimore have a good game. He just looks old to me when I kind of watch New Orleans play on the All-22 and everything. He just looks old, and he's not even old. He's like 24, 25, isn't he?
Just looking up his age, because not old at all.
Eat Kamara chalk, Scrimp Daddy says. We will for sure be eating Kamara chalk in cash games. We will decide later on.
24. Dude's 24 years old. Jesus Christ. Poor Marshawn Lattimore. Those injuries have been killing him.
Yeah, that sucks. So he looks like he's 35, but I like New Orleans if we can get to 7. It's all about value on the show, and Sia does a great job kind of talking about that and where the line's moving and when you should wait, when you should buy in. So I think I will wait or get New Orleans at 7 if I can get that. I don't know if sharp money is going to come in on Carolina any more than it has already, so I don't see this line moving. I think 7.5 is the right line. My model agrees, which is kind of what I like to see. I like to see half the games be dead on and be like, okay, good, there's no play here, but I know I'm doing something right because I'm getting the same numbers they are on multiple occasions. So I like that. That justifies us a little bit. But for Kamara and DFS, I think this is not a game where he's going to get a ton of catches. So I think we may fade this dude in GPPs, but we'll see. It's too early to tell. He's gonna be like -250 to score though. So
we'll see.
I'll have quite a few shares of Robbie Anderson here at 6K on DraftKings. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
I mean, for those of you that are kind of wondering where his target share has gone, like it remained consistent the whole season. Because I know the first few weeks it was like, wow, Robbie Anderson's getting more targets than DJ Moore. Well, the last 3 weeks, he's gotten almost 30 targets, 29 to be exact. So he's still getting the lion's share of the targets. I mean, DJ Moore finally found the end zone a couple weeks ago, but Robbie Anderson's definitely the go-to guy. And against this defense, I think he can burn them for 1 or 2.
It'd be interesting. Sorry, I was texting Jason back. He's the person that I text back when I do these shows. He wanted to know what bets we liked because he was going on Philly radio. So I told him Sia loves the Eagles.
Ooh, tell him Giant.
Radio.
Pretty good for Philly radio. I mean, give them something to scream about.
Oh, also great question here.
I thought that was the Raiders that sent 4 players home, but maybe it was Carolina too.
No, Carolina did too, yeah.
The Raiders might have lost their entire offensive line. I know that one. We'll get to that. We will get to that. But yes, great question. Doesn't sound like it was anyone important, but I mean, 4 players is 4 players. So it's something to keep an eye on.
And so just that's a really good comment. So there's a lot of things that are happening this season, particularly with COVID and injuries, but like there are certain lines that you definitely want to wait till Sunday to and sometimes you want to wait just to see where the sharp money's going in general. But there's certain lines you want to lock in early just because like the line is wrong. And you can just like let's say you loved the Giants. It opened at 6.5 now, and then it went down to 3.5 in like 2 hours. So there's certain lines to jump on early, and there's certain lines you just want to wait till Sunday morning around 11 o'clock, 11:30, see where the action is, and then make your bet. So in this particular game, that makes a lot of sense because Tipton also mentioned Mike Davis is hobbled. Like, let's see if he has a full practice tomorrow because that's going to factor into the analysis too. Because if he's out and CMC is out, it's like Reggie Bonifant time. Like at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm out. Like Saints.
Let's get on the Reggie Bonifant train. And yes, Scrimp Daddy, it was the kicker, Joey Sly. So if I guess season long, watch out there. But that
dude's fucking jacked, by the way. Sorry if we're dropping F-bombs. I don't know the rules. If
we already did. Cool. What are we going to do about it now?
Yeah, Joey Sly's got to be the most built kicker in NFL history. Maybe Jankowski. Remember that guy? Seabass.
Yes, we remember.
Yeah,
Sebastian Janikowski. Nick,
he'd beat the shit out of Joey Sly, but I think that would be my MMA fight of kickers, if that's a thing, if we're inventing that. Just because Seabass probably drinks way more than I do, and he's from England or something, right? So yeah, that guy's a bar fighter for sure. But all right, that's my thought on this game.
That was awesome. Appreciate that. Let's move to the Browns and the Bengals. Line open -4 to the Browns. It is now down to 3.5. We have an over-under of 50.5, if I'm not mistaken. AJ Green screwed us in this game with the 80 props, and the Bengals covered back door with like 20 seconds left, which was pretty funny to watch there. Sia, talk to me a little bit. How are you feeling about the Browns and the Bengals? -3.5 to the Browns.
Yeah, they're the kings of the backdoor cover, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw that actually against Cleveland. I think it was Thursday Night Football 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, right now I like the Bengals. I want to monitor what's going on with Baker Mayfield in terms of his rib injury. Like if we hear anything about whether he's taking all the reps and stuff like that, because I don't think he's healthy. And by the way, I think we're at a point where we can say he's a pretty bad quarterback. Like if we're going to rank the 32 quarterbacks, he's definitely in the 18 to 25 tier, somewhere in there, and like kind of like the bottom 1/3 of the league. And by the way, that pass that who was it that picked it off for the house for Pittsburgh? The Miami guy, Mika Fitzpatrick. That was like the worst pass I've ever seen. It was so obvious to me that Baker, whether maybe he didn't want to get hit by the aggressive Steelers defense, and maybe he was just like, all right, I'm going to my first read no matter what. But it's not just that Minka was just standing there. By the way, pre-snap, he was standing there too. Mm-hmm. But even if Minka wasn't there, even if he wasn't, like if he was completely somewhere else on the field, I think he was throwing it to Jarvis or Hooper, and he was covered. The receiver was covered. Like it wasn't getting to the receiver regardless. And here Minka is just sitting there. I mean, it just boggles my mind that you could make a throw that bad. It's not. There was nothing confusing about it. It wasn't like a linebacker that dropped back into coverage. He was just standing there the whole time. So I'm really down on this team right now. And especially, I mean, hopefully Kareem Hunt is healthy. They're definitely going to be able to run the ball, and they will get a pass rush. But if I hear any sort of like scuttlebutt about Baker being injured or anybody else being hurt, then I'm definitely on the Bengals. For now, this is a stay away, but I'll take the backdoor cover team, like because I have to make a pick right now. I'll take the Bengals +3.5.
You are forced to make I would also take the Bengals. I think the Bengals win outright. I know we saw what Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were able to do, but now we don't have Nick Chubb, and we also don't really have a super healthy Kareem Hunt. So I think that there's a chance. And I think Geno Atkins is back too, right? He came back from the dead. So shout out Geno Atkins, maybe 2 weeks back, is going to do something. I mean, it literally can't get any worse than it was. I think both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt had 100 yards rushing last time. So literally anything is better than it is. But we'll see what happens. I think the Bengals have a shot. Nick, how do you feel about this? Do you think the Bengals can win it at home, plus or at least cover?
Joe Mixon may not play. He's likely not going to play. So people don't realize he's hurt.
Well, he did that last time and then had like 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
this is his foot. This isn't the flu.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever he went to the hospital with. I think it was more serious than the flu. But
not serious enough to not get into a car accident the next day. So
True. When he balled out that day, that was his career game. Best game ever. If Joe Mixon's out, I'm going to wait. This is sit and wait on this game. I think Sia said that already, but people aren't talking about Joe Mixon being hurt. So I would love Cincinnati if we got the hook, the 3.5, if Joe Mixon was there ready to go. But if Joe Mixon's out, I think Cleveland just runs the shit out of the ball, which kind of breaks my heart because I really, really, really want to use Joe Burrow this week. He's so damn cheap too, but I think I'm leaning Cleveland, but obviously, like, there's no reason. I know we're going to force bets on everything, but you have to wait for Joe Mixon news. If he's out, Giovanni Bernard, come on. Like, I'm not buying into that. Or who's their other guy? It should be Samaje Perine. I'm still a Samaje Perine truther, but
wow, that's a Washington football team guy right there. That guy's
always thought he'd be good.
Which is super slow, by the way. You ever notice when Clyde Edwards-Helaire is running away, like going for a house call, he's actually running towards the defense? I mean, the guy slow. It's absurd. Anyway, 4.640, by the way. So let me ask you this, though, because Joe Mixon didn't practice today, but Wednesdays are often a day off for veterans. Like almost, I would say, like most skill player veterans. Is there any other information other than foot and didn't practice today that leads you to believe he's not playing?
He didn't practice yesterday either.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Tuesday and Wednesday, I wouldn't really like. I mean, I feel like Thursday, we're probably going to see him get a limited practice in, and then maybe we'll get like the real story on Saturday. I'm hoping it doesn't come down to a game time decision, but from what I'm reading, it doesn't sound like super serious. But I'm reading tea leaves here, but I expect him to play.
Reading tea leaves.
If he plays, I'm all over Cincinnati. Absolutely, I'm with you guys there. But if he's, I don't know. I don't like it because I need Joe Mixon in a lot of season-long leagues, and if he doesn't play, it's not good for me.
Not good, not great. Tipton says Friday is typically the day, so that's something to pay attention to. Let's move on. We have the Steelers. We have the Titans. This was the first game, guys. This was the first COVID game. It was suspended. It was moved. It was like a Tuesday, and then it was pushed, and the Titans kept getting sick, and yada, yada, yada. This game I think was a week 4 matchup, if I'm not mistaken. We are now on week 7. We have the Steelers. The line opened at -1.5. It is now Titans -1.5. We have about 41% of the bets on the Titans, about 86% of the dollar bills. The over-under came down from 52.5 down to 50 Stix. I mean, Derrick Henry's your boy. Like, how can you bet against him at this point?
Yeah, well, Pittsburgh. I said it on the Monday, yesterday's, or whatever. What day?
Whatever day. Doesn't matter.
Monday. Do not pick on Pittsburgh's D, man. I don't know how they're a dog in this game, but Tennessee's been awesome. They're just so efficient at everything that they do. Passing the ball, I think they're probably top 5 in offensive pass efficiency too. Number two behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Doesn't mean they pass a lot by any means, but when they do, it works out. Top 10 in run efficiency as well. They're just a really, really, really good team. And Vrabel, I think, is Bill Belichick Jr. I know we all saw that video, but just in general, he knows how to manage a game. Like, Tennessee is not ever going to get blown out. He's just a very good coach. I think that's probably what Detroit thought they were getting in Patricia, but it's clearly not the case. Vrabel's the guy. That's a great line, man.
What does your model say? Do you have it?
Yeah, it's like right on the number.
But what else would you expect?
I just think it's interesting. There was value in New York and stuff like that.
No. I'm obviously being facetious, but go chug another beer, Stix. It's moved 3 points. It -1.5 to the Steelers. It's now -1.5 to the Titans. See what does that tell you?
Too much movement.
It's a lot of movement.
Yeah, that really scares me because I like Pittsburgh. When this game was first what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where it was first set, and I literally immediately put a bet in on Pittsburgh, and I usually don't do that. Usually, like, I'll see a bet I like at the beginning of the week, maybe one, and that was that week, and I don't want to deviate from that just because of 2 weeks of information. But go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, that game opened -3 to the Titans, and that's why you were all over it, because it was +3 to the Steelers, and we're like, yeah, that's a dumb line. I don't know. I don't know. And Tipton says he loves to play the new dog when the line flips.
Is Deontay Johnson back?
Yes. Said he practiced today.
Pittsburgh, done. Easy one. That's an easy cover. I'm with Tipton there because it's in like my I mentioned the psycho notes on Monday. It said always play speed receivers against Tennessee, especially when Adoree Jackson's out. Adoree Jackson is out. And we said that last week with Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks. Boom. What did they do?
Bang.
So I'm not expecting a huge day for Claypool. But if Deontay Johnson's back and Claypool, that is 2 4-4 guys on the outside that Malcolm Butler can't do anything with. That's and give me the better defense, better coach. Well, I don't know. Better coach. Well, this is a great coaching matchup, is what it is. For all you nerds out there, like this is going to be a fun game to watch because it's probably going to go under. And you could run on Tennessee as well. I don't know. I like the under. Can I take the under? I don't even care what the points are. It could be 44. I'll take the under.
It's 50, so I'll give you a couple
Yeah,
extra points.
under for days, and then Pittsburgh getting 1.5. Whatever book you can get 1.5 at, can you get the hook?
I'll tell you, I like Pittsburgh, but I also like the over. I actually think this is a stackable game. Like, obviously, it's a stackable game. Anybody would say that, but this is definitely a game I'm probably going to focus on stacking because I actually think both defenses are overrated, particularly Pittsburgh. I mean, they're just 2 weeks ago they were like just the floodgates were open, and they lost Devin Bush. So I think Henry's going to eat, and Tannehill's been really good. By the way, Tannehill's one of the better. So a lot of people say, well, he has a good offensive line, he has a good running game, you can run play action and all that, but under pressure, his stats are really good. He's one of the best quarterbacks under pressure as well. So I like everybody in this game. And by the way, Claypool's only 5,700 on DraftKings. So he hasn't really been priced up. Let's see. AJ Brown was priced up a little bit from last week. He's 6,300, which is not prohibitive at all, in my opinion. So I love this game from a stack standpoint, but I'm going to stick with what I had 3 weeks ago. I don't think the Titans are smoke and mirrors by any means. I mean, they have the formula, but I just think Pittsburgh's the better team overall. Oh, by the way, Taylor Lewan is out for the Tennessee Titans, so that's a big deal too.
Off his ACL,
that
right?
equals out Devin Bush. Like exactly. This is Undercity for me.
Taylor Lewan's a pretty funny guy. One thing I will say, Scrimp Daddy's asking, Juju has an injury designation.
He's good to go. I follow one of the Philly beat writers, and he said he's good.
I'll take that.
And frankly, like, even if he's not, like, I hate to say it, but I'm not sure it like super affects the line because, by the way, they also have James Washington and obviously Deontay and Chase. They have so many weapons that they can just rotate in there. So even if Juju's out, I don't think it affects the analysis.
Deontay Johnson, 40-yard touchdown. Book it.
Call it. Can we get odds on that, Nick? Give me those while I talk about why I think Adam Gase is clearly one of the worst head coaches in the NFL. I think that's important to understand. Ryan Tannehill leaves and becomes otherworldly. So Sam Darnold, somebody buy low on him now because it turns out he's probably not that bad. I think that's a pretty important statistic to pay attention to. Do we have odds on that?
On what?
What do you got?
No,
Whatever.
I was going to say, I like this almost feels like a misprint. I got to go to my app and make sure, but Deontay Johnson's only 4,200 on DraftKings. Like
coming off 2 injuries, 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the algorithm, does the algorithm not account for what he did the first few weeks? That doesn't make it. Nick, did you hear that?
Yes, jam him in. Absolutely.
I mean, that's bottom of the barrel stuff right there. I mean, he's going to be in cash games. He's going to be like 50% owned. It makes no sense.
We'll find out in Nick's cash game article. Make sure you're signed up for WinDailySports.com Gold membership, and you can find out how to win a lot of money just like Nick. Thank you. You can make a lot of money just like Nick. GPPs, cash games, whatever you need, Nick has it all. What are you laughing at, Sia?
Okay, so before we get to the next game, I'm sorry. So this guy Casey has come in on the chat. So it's funny. I hope everybody's seen like the 1.5-minute video on like the idioms and like catchphrases that I hate. And so I just said, read the tea leaves, and he's sort of like making fun of me for that. Mm-hmm. By the way, I do want to point out, Casey, Nick, if you haven't seen that, I think it's adorably funny, and you should watch it. It's on my Twitter and whatnot. And on Instagram. I'm new to Instagram now, so like I'm one of the cool kids now, right? Like I'm cool.
What is
everything cool?
What's your at? Where can we find you, bruh?
Sia Najad Sports. Pretty clever,
huh? All right.
Right?
Was Sia Najad taken out of curiosity?
Yeah, it was, believe it or not. There's like a bunch of Sias around, and most of them are girls, so don't read into that.
Singer or that lady.
I do want to give Casey just a couple props before we move on. So he was the one, Michael, if you remember when we were doing this with Iggy Rodriguez from The Bachelorette, name dropping all over the place here. He was the one that said Le'Veon Bell to the Chiefs before like it was like news. I mean, and the sense I got was he was like telling us, even though that wasn't reported at all. So whether he was telling us or just guessing, like, good call, Casey, because it ended up being true like 12 hours later. So good stuff.
A couple questions about Casey, and you can answer in the chat because, again, we're already at about an hour, and I don't even think we're halfway through these games. So at some point, we have to speed this up for everybody. But
all right, let's do it.
Casey, can you tell the future, or do you have insider information? If you could just answer either of those questions for me in the chat, I'll make sure to put it up and tell everybody the answer.
We're more than halfway through.
We got like 6 more games, and at this pace, we're going to be here for a while, which is fine. I actually really enjoy spending time with you guys. So it's
that's so sweet.
really not
Thank
that
you.
big a deal to me, but my wife's not happy about it because she wants to go to sleep at some point. And then because just for everybody out there, I then stay up and edit the show and do all the stuff, and then I post it up, and that part it takes a couple minutes, just a few, mostly the exporting part, but I'm just making it longer for myself now. That's really all I'm doing. Let's move on. We have the Seahawks. We have the Cardinals NFC West matchup. Oh, this is our first 4:00 game. Sweet. NFC West matchup. We just saw the Cardinals hammer the Cowboys. Seahawks are coming off a bye week. Maybe we'll see Jamal Adams back. I don't know. That would be kind of fun. I picked him up in my IDP league. For some reason, he was out there, so I'm very excited about that. But we'll see. I think he's still questionable, so we'll see exactly what happens there. Seahawks -3 in the Dome in Arizona. I lived in Arizona for a couple months, just in case you didn't know. Over under at 55.5. We have 63% of the bets on the Seahawks. We have 86% of the money at 3.5, and it opened there, and it stayed there, and it doesn't look like it's moving. So, Stix, talk. First off, we know we're going to play a lot of people in this game. I'm sure DeAndre Hopkins. I'm sure Kyler Murray, yada, yada, yada. How do you feel about this game? Talk to me.
Easy. Arizona 3.5. Take it.
Bang. See ya.
I totally agree. I mean, this is one of those. This is one of those where, again, like I'm focused on the dogs, and I'm very happy this is 3.5 because this is a dog play, and dog plays win. Like, by the way, if you're not aware, like last week in particular, almost all the dogs covered the spread, and I'm talking about like almost, I think it was like an 80% or 75% clip. So your primary focus should be on the dogs that you like when you're looking at the lines each week. Of course, we're going to take some favorites too, but this is a great dog play. And this is one of those where I hate predicting backdoor covers, but like this is one of those where that could absolutely be kind of your worst case scenario where Kyle is throwing to Christian Kirk or D-Hop, to cut it to 3.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we do have to give props where props are due. I said Christian Kirk was dead. Stix said, no, he scores 2 touchdowns. And what does he do? He fucking goes out and scores 2 touchdowns. Excuse my language, but that doesn't happen often, people. When Stix says someone scores 2 touchdowns, it's almost winning. Like it's almost at a higher than 500 record right now, which he'd be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, just in case you didn't know. Yeah, chug that beer, bud. You deserve it.
And props to Deep Dive. Props to Deep Dive Fantasy Football, because he came on the show and gave you a big lecture, if you recall, on how Christian
Kirk has had 1 game in like 3 years. So guys, let's calm down a little bit. I'm just giving Stix props because he called the one time Christian Kirk decided to do well.
Yeah, and he's been banged up, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
3 years
I like Christian Kirk.
It's enough at this point. We kind of know what Christian Kirk is. So, but yeah, shout out Stix. That was pretty impressive. Stix, where are we going with stacks? I mean, I just assume just about everybody's in play in this game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Kyler, D-Hop, Kirk. No, I'll probably go the other. I don't know yet. I don't know. I really like Chris Carson in this spot.
You love Chris Carson. I mean, he's always good.
Dude, he's never priced up, and he catches 4 balls a game. Everybody that says Carson is not a pass-catching running back, stop.
Was the word we like to use donkey? People called you a donkey for winning like 6 figures last week.
Donkey.
I thought that was
because I played Derrick Henry. How dare I?
How dare you? Let's move on. We have the Chiefs -9.5 going to Mile High. This over-under is at 46. Yikes. We saw Drew Lock come back last week, had a couple picks, didn't look great. We saw the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes had a few touchdowns, as he always does, but he also just kind of let his running back do his thing. I think CEH had like 160 yards rushing. Kind of his first game since his first game that he's been pretty much anything fantasy relevant. So that's pretty interesting. So talk to me a little bit, Stix. No, wait, we started with you last time.
Let's go to Sia.
Yeah. Sia, 9.5 to the Chiefs in Mile High. How are you feeling about it?
Man, this one is really tough, but I think I have to go with the dog again. I think did you? I'm sorry, I might have checked out for a second. Did you say where the money was and
No, I didn't. 52% of the bets on the Broncos, 73% of the money on the Chiefs.
Interesting.
And all the money is on the under. Holy shit. 50-50 splits on the bet. 90% of the money is on the under. What do they know that we don't?
Yeah. So 46. Interesting. So this would be an ideal, like, again, we'll talk about the tease real quick. So if you were going to tease a game, I mean, this is like such a perfect setup because you can tease it under the 3 if you do a 7-point tease, and you can do that with the Chargers, which would just mean an outright win for the Chargers. So to me, now the Broncos are going to get respect because of what they did last week. So it's not one of those games where the Chiefs are going to be like, oh, we get to play the Broncos. So, and the Chiefs have sort of already had their bad games and their bad losses, I think, against the Raiders specifically. So I think the Chiefs are going to definitely be ready. I mean, there's the Mile High air, but the Mile High crowd isn't going to be a thing, that's for sure. I think I like the Chiefs here. This is definitely a stay away for me, But if I had to make a pick, you know what? Given this total and how low it's going, I'm actually going to go Broncos here, plus 9.5. But I do like the Chiefs in a specifically a 7-point tease with the Chargers.
I like that. We have a comment here. Crack stats. Weather is supposed to be brutal in this game. So
very interesting.
Something to pay attention to. We saw a brutal weather game for the Chiefs.
It's the snow, right? Is it the snow?
We get our snow
I know,
game.
cracks. I think it's it's a weather front coming this weekend to the upper Midwest. So like the Dakotas, and I think Denver is kind of a part of that.
So it's funny because I live in South Florida, and I just assume, because I forget that there's like other states in the country. I just assume it's 100 degrees everywhere. So just the idea that it's a weather game and then that weather doesn't relate to wind and rain, like, because that would be the weather down here, that it might actually be snow or cold weather is like mind boggling to me. So thanks for pointing that out. I there's plenty of sites like, there's actually like kind of a cool site, NFLweather.com, that kind of lays it out really easy for you, and instead of like having to go to like Wind Finder and all that stuff. So that's something I guess I need to start looking into, because it didn't even occur to me to look at that.
Yeah, it's almost November. It gets cold in other parts of the country. See ya.
Weird.
Why
do people live in cold weather? I don't understand the point of that.
I would get out as quickly as I could, but I like my friends too much, and my girlfriend, my wife, likes her family, so it's kind of difficult. Stix, minus 9.5 to the Chiefs. Did you have a pick on this game?
Chiefs.
I know I said we had to go quick, but like, you can give me something.
No, Mahomes does pretty well at Denver. I know he tore his knee almost last year, but I don't see how Denver's going to score. I just remember that game last year, like that. It was Cortland Sutton did anything he wanted on a Kansas City defense that could not stop the pass last year, or their defense was just bad. Their pass defense ranks 4th in DVOA. You have to run all over. Like if Melvin Gordon's not going to play, I don't trust Philip Lindsay to be the bell cow and Royce Freeman. Like if it was Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay, I think I'd like Denver for sure here as a home dog with that many points. I don't know. See, like, do you like the 9.5, or do you think we see 10? Because I feel like the public's just always going to give a half point back to Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a weather game, you're never going to see 10. I don't think. I mean, if it's truly brutal weather, I don't think we'd have to gauge the wind there too. I think that would be kind of an important metric. But if the weather's okay, yeah, I guess that could go up to 10. But the way the Broncos played last week against the Patriots, I don't expect that to happen.
Especially with the Patriots coming off a bye. Like, you don't see Belichick just get embarrassed like that ever off of a bye. But, I mean, I respect Vic Fangio a ton, and his defense should be ready to go. They got their cornerback too. So Bryce Callahan goes back to the slot this week. That makes a big difference. He was playing on the outside, and that's a problem. He can't do Tyreek Hill and Hardman, Demarcus Robinson. There's just so much speed in this team.
Can you please from now on say Demarcus Robinson ahead of McCole Hardman? Because like I've gotten to a boiling point where like people just assume McCole Hardman's going to be a thing as soon as Sammy Watkins gets hurt, and the guy
played that 2-game slate, and I put Robinson over. Like that's the easiest leverage play of the world, because I hate that term leverage play. But like if 40% of the field was on Hardman, Robinson plays the same amount of snaps, and he honestly gets more targets. I don't get why. Like Hardman needs to be a factor in that offense. I believe in this guy so much, but yeah, you're right. It's everybody just assumed. Why is everybody so high on Hardman, including myself? I didn't play him just because I understand DFS a little bit more. I was like, I'm not going to play a 40% owned wide receiver 3, but I still love Hardman. I won't cut him in our Sirius XM league with Jason just because I believe in him so much. But is it time I cut him?
Byron Pringle gets more targets than McCole Hardman. And he gets like down the field. He gets air yards. McCole Hardman is lucky to get like an end around. It's crazy.
They need to use this kid. Something happens at practice that they don't trust him, but
agree.
Yeah, I think he doesn't catch the ball. I think Hardman's a Tyreek replacement. Well, I mean, I don't know.
He's such a good route. He never ran deep routes to Georgia, though. That's why I don't believe
he's just so fast. He's so fast. But before we move on from this game, and while I look up notes for the other game, Sia, Stix and I had this. We pondered this on the Monday show for Melvin Gordon. He had a DUI and strep throat. Which one's worse, in your opinion, as a lawyer?
That's a good question. What would you rather have? Well, you'd rather have the DUI because you get paid for the clients that get DUIs.
Wait, you mean as a lawyer? Like, I don't even understand the question.
Yeah, I guess, like, which one's worse?
As a civilian, what would you rather have? A lawyer, obviously, you want the DUI. You're getting paid.
Yeah.
And by the way, DUI, depending on the state you're in, the punishment could be way worse too. I mean, you could
Arizona, you're like on house arrest you can't leave.
And if you do have a certain blood alcohol content, like in Virginia, I know where I first practiced law before I moved to Florida. Like if you have a certain BAC, you're going to jail for 10 days. And you can do like the weekend thing if you have a job or whatever. But like there are certain sort of benchmarks where like you're going to jail for 5 or 10 days.
You just clock out Friday night and I'm going to county.
Work go to jail. Oh, that's awesome.
In jail on the weekend.
So I think we're all in agreement.
Don't drink and drive.
Probably strep throat. I think though.
Drink and stream.
Yes.
Call an Uber, Melvin. Nobody needs to see your car. Like they know you're rich already. Just like
it's true.
Call it.
It's true. 2 years, 14 million, could have got, I think, 13.5 million guaranteed from the Chargers. So that's kind of nice. Moving on. We have the 49ers traveling to Foxborough across the country. I don't know if that even matters anymore. It's just always fun to say. Line opened at -5.5 to the Patriots, and then everybody saw what the 49ers looked like this week. I guess we forgot what they looked like last week, and we saw what the Patriots looked like this week. So this line's all the way down. You can get it at -1.5, +1.5. I'm seeing mostly -2. Nice Stix. Thank you for that. Over under came down from 46. Yep, sorry, but 43.5. You're back on mute, so I'll go with Sia. Sia, did we forget what the 49ers looked like 2 weeks ago against the Dolphins? Or
get this straight, this line went from -5.5 to -1.5.
That's what I'm seeing. That's my trust.
That's an insane line move. It just goes to show that like some of these bookmakers set the lines wrong, and if you can take advantage of it, like I don't know if it's out of boredom or just because I want to win money, like or maybe both. But I look at lines almost as soon as they come out because there's always value in 1 or 2 lines, and even if it's just a half a point value or 1 point, like that's big in the NFL. So that's crazy that this went from 5.5 to 1.5. But
well, here's the thing. Let me ask you: if 2 weeks ago, we said, okay, Cam is coming back. We just saw the 49ers get smashed by the Dolphins. Would -5.5 for the Patriots at home been that crazy? I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think so. So then 1 week later, we see Jimmy Garoppolo. He has 2 legs. He can beat up on the Rams, who we all kind of think aren't as good as their record is. And Cam Newton turns out can't get into the freaking end zone against the Broncos. Like, it's just so weird. So 5.5 would have made sense 2 weeks ago, and now it's just an awful line. So it's really interesting kind of to see how some of that stuff works. But anyway, that's just kind of my little tangent there.
Yeah, I like the Patriots. I think this is going to be more of like obviously both teams are desperate for a win, but I think you're going to see, because of the Patriots' desperation, I think you're going to see a lot more like gimmicky stuff and a lot more running from Cam Newton himself. And, the Niners defense they're getting guys back gradually, but they're still really banged up and they're still without a lot of guys. So I'm surprised this line's only 1.5. I mean, it definitely scares me that it moved that much, but I like the Patriots by 3 in this game.
Okay, so we'll take the 1.5. Stix, what do you think?
I'm just interested to see what Belichick does against the tight end. I love when, like Darren Waller jams him at the line. It'll be interesting to see him play Kittle because Kittle's just such a different beast than Darren Waller. I just want to reiterate what Sia said about opening line value like that. Like with me, how I like New York now at 4.5, they opened at 6.5. So looking at the lines for boredom on Monday, like that is probably the best time. If you're locked in, ready to go, and you have some sort of system that evaluates teams, Monday is the best time to bet. So just want to, again, see his knowledge of the betting industry is just so sharp. So tip of the cap to that. But for this, dude, this game, there's so much, like Vegas is kind of locked in right now, and no one beats Vegas consistently on NFL sides. So I think I like the over, I think, of 44?
Yeah.
I'm seeing 44 on FanDuel right now. I think I like the over.
43.5 if you want to take it on DraftKings.
Even better. All right. I haven't checked Canby yet. Canby was down yesterday. You don't want to get me started on them. Never mind.
No, not yet.
Yeah, these European bookmakers taking over the American market. We will, it's like the auto industry. I don't know shit about politics. I'm just fucking around, but I think I just like the over. I think I would lean with Sia on taking New England, especially after getting embarrassed at home last week. Like, that was bad. And I don't know. I don't want to overvalue Belichick because his team is not the same. Julian Edelman is not the same. But if there's any matchup for Edelman to get right, it's got to be this one on the inside against San Fran. That's where you can beat him. Dude, this is tough. like I love Shanahan so much too, but you can't really run on New England, and he's gonna. This should be a good Debo day. Like you can only like this. San Fran is so talented. You see Ayuk, he's a red zone threat. I wish they would use him a little bit more, but if they shut down Kittle, I think I like San Fran because there's so many weapons that they have. With Mostert out though, what do we have? Because Tevin Coleman's not back yet. Next week he should be back. That was our waiver wire guy from Monday.
You're probably looking at Jerick McKinnon. I don't think Wilson's going to be healthy. You might have just said that. I think JaMychal Hasty might get a little bit of run.
That's a tough spread. I think I just like the total. I like the over there.
And by the way, do we know that Jimmy Garoppolo is fully healthy? I mean, the way they designed the game plan against the Rams, I mean, he was basically throwing the ball like 2 yards down the field each time, and Ayuk and Debo and Kittle were doing.
Exactly. That's all they did last year, right? And they crushed. I mean, you and me there was no one higher on San Fran preseason than you and I both were. Obviously, 50% of the playmakers got hurt, so it's not like we had a bad call there. And this team is like they had no business beating the Rams right there, and they beat their ass. I don't care what the scoreboard says. Like San Fran controlled that game. They're just such a hard team to figure out.
I don't think the Patriots are going to let him just check the ball down 2 yards, especially when you don't have Mostert either. I think they're going to find a way to get pressure on Garoppolo. And if that happens, he's going to crumble more than a Cam Newton. I mean, Cam Newton doesn't look good throwing the ball, but I don't know how much he needs to throw the ball, to be honest with you, in this game, because the defense is still, especially the defensive line, is so banged up for the Niners. I just think it's going to be a ball control game, and it's going to be Cam and some Julian Edelman. By the way, Julian Edelman and Debo on DraftKings are both 5K. So if you like, I mean, I think Julian Edelman at 5K is actually kind of a super smart play. Debo is because I just feel like Brandon Ayuk and Bourne and Kittle get so many targets, but nobody's really sucking up targets. Like N'Keal Harry's not really doing anything. Damian Bird's just kind of running down the field. So I think it could be an Edelman game here. It's sneaky.
100%, dude. I'm with you. 5K. This is the best time to buy Julian Edelman stock low. The targets are there. It's just him and Tom Brady had such a good thing. So I don't know, but I like it for DFS. This is probably a good game to get a little bit of sneaky exposure to some 3:00 games. Obviously, everybody's going to stack Seattle, Arizona, but Edelman at 5K, that dude's getting 15 points. So that's 3x value right there. So
love it.
Yeah, they're 4:00 games. We go by Eastern Standard.
Thank you. Jesus Christ.
Oh, sorry, I forgot the whole world. How do you? Let's talk about Eastern time for a quick second. How the hell do you guys watch football games that start at 8:30? Like you start work at 9:00, right?
Wait, 8:30 at night? Yeah.
So your games go to fucking midnight. That sounds awful. I want to move to Denver or something. I don't even like Denver. I want to move to like Utah or something because games start at 6:00 there, and it's like, oh, you got your whole night ahead of you after that. I don't know. Call me crazy. Could be the Miller Lite talking at this point, but I don't know how the hell East Coasters stay up for all these games that start so late. Crazy.
Well, you go to sleep. I just go to sleep.
Well, you go to sleep at halftime because you're 90 years old in the 28-year-old man's body, but I don't know.
28-year-old man's body. Let's go. All right, that's enough.
Yeah,
this is an intro.
Yes, Sia, I look like I'm 15. I get it. Move to Arizona and don't get a DUI. I like that. Thank you, Zach. We appreciate you paying attention.
My bachelor party's at Arizona, so I did kind of look up the rules. It's like you literally cannot leave the state while you have an open DUI without paying like a crazy fine.
Yeah, Arizona's pretty nuts. I had a lot of fun. Lived there, and actually, it was awesome when the games did start at like a really sweet time. So actually, I totally agree. I really liked Mountain Time Zone.
Dude, I love that Monday game. Get home at 4:00 and they were kicking off.
Pacific's a little early. I liked it when it was in Mountain Time. Arizona, just in case anybody didn't know. No daylight savings. All right, we're going to move on. Too much. 3 games left. We can do this, guys. We have the Jags and the Chargers starting at 4:25 here on the East Coast because everything does revolve around us. As Sia already said, he likes the Chargers in a tease, but Sia, 7.5 to the Chargers, 52% of the bets, 57% of the money. How are you feeling about that?
I'm surprised there's not more money on the Chargers, to be honest with you. I have seen nothing out of the Jaguars since basically week 2. I mean, I'm not saying they're giving up, but like, DJ Shark is healthy, I believe. So they've got their full complement of weapons, but James Robinson hasn't done anything in weeks. So the running game isn't there. Gardner Minshew is like hot and cold, and even his hot isn't like a top 10 quarterback hot. It's just like, oh, he's average for a second. I just don't like the way the Chargers defense is playing, the way they're getting out to leads. I mean, yes, Anthony Lynn can blow a lead to pretty much anybody, but to the Jaguars, yeah, I guess it's possible, but the way Herbert is playing, and you got Mike Williams healthy, who's sucking up a lot of targets. You got Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry. Justin Jackson's no slouch. I mean, he's definitely better, in my opinion, right now than the rookie, than Josh Kelly. So I don't see a lot of weaknesses with the Chargers. Let's put it that way. And I see so many weaknesses with Jacksonville. So in spite of the Anthony Lynn factor, which used to be the kind of the Bill O'Brien factor, which maybe now is the Joe Judge factor, I'm not really sure. But the point is, I mean, this could be a runaway situation where this is like a get right game coming off a bye. This could be like a 17-point win. And I don't even think that's a controversial statement that it could get out of hand.
The Giants have covered a couple spreads. Let's just say that. Stix, how do you feel about
the model hates?
Oh, +1. All right.
The model absolutely hates Jacksonville. I'm with Sia. I think I wish it was 7. I think like 7.5. It's just it's a weird game, and I don't like to tease favorites down. But if you can get the Chargers at a pick 'em, I think that's free money. I mean, Verrett's coming on. I was always such a big fan of Jason Verrett. What does he have it's Jason Verrett.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Verrett's on the Niners, wasn't he? What am I missing?
No, Verrett's. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I thought we were
Miller Lite.
Oh my god, yeah. What the fuck am I doing?
By the way, he is coming on, and good for him, because that guy's like injury plagued like no other NFL.
3 ACL tears, I think.
Ugh, poor guy. Dodgers are losing 3-0. In case anybody was paying attention to us and stealing ratings away from baseball. So yes,
it'd be such a smash spot for. Sorry to cut you off there. For Chargers running backs, it just sucks that they're in a timeshare. I'm with Sia. I think Justin Jackson deserves more time for sure here. I think there's a great spot for Keenan Allen. Just I don't know how Jacksonville scores, so I'm with Sia. I think 7.5 is fine. I would love to see 7. We're probably not going to see it, but I think they can definitely crush these guys. Guyton 3-2, Williams 4K, Keenan questionable. Keenan should play. It was just back spasms. I think it was nothing special. Guyton, you never need to get that cute. I see all these lineups in Discord with guys that are playing people that are 3K, unless it just makes the rest of your lineup amazing. But I only want to play Jared Guyton or Jalen Guyton when they're chasing points. So they're not going to be chasing points in this game. This is a running game for LA. And then the guys that are guaranteed target shares on second and long, third down when they need conversions, it's going to be Hunter Henry and Keenan Allen. Mike Williams can certainly catch a deep ball, but I don't see this being a ceiling game for him either.
Yeah, and I do want to, on the DFS standpoint, like you always want to project volume, and so when you have split running backs, it's hard to like advocate for one of the two that are going to be like 1A and 1A. But I do like Justin Jackson at 4,900 because I think he's going to get continue to get more carries relative to Joshua Kelly. So if he gets like a 70-30 split or even 65-35, I think he's going to be really good in this game. So I think that's if you're trying to spend down on a running back for whatever reason, I think that's a decent place to go.
Yep, 100%.
Love it. Blake Snell has a no-hitter through 4. So
Chargers D, though. This is a great spot for Chargers D. Season long, if you guys need a filler, Chargers D.
Picked him up. Yeah, love that one.
I might have to pick them up. I like that. A couple more games. We have the Sunday night game starting at 8:20 on the East Coast, so I'm not watching the end of it. Holy shit, that's impossible.
That's why you said we were halfway done. I thought we were just doing the main slate. Again,
no.
DFS with me.
Yeah, I know. We appreciate you. I don't know. This is a little wacky. Something happened to where I get my information from. But Bucks opened at -2. Looks like they're -4 right now. The Raiders, as I said earlier, they had one of their offensive linemen go home with COVID, and now they're afraid that their entire offensive line might have to sit out due to contact tracing, which is pretty terrifying. So that's something to worry about. And in just case you were wondering, it looks like -10.5 at BetMGM. You can get it at +200. So honestly, that's not even that great of odds. So whatever. But yeah, -4 to the Bucks, 64% of the bets, 71% of the money. On the over, we have 52, about 50% of the bets, and 78% of the money. That's pretty solid too. Stix, talk to me. Does Tom Brady, do they do it again? Do they just run it back against this poor Oakland defense?
I think they do. I really think they do. You could run on them. Yeah, Tampa Bay should be like a 7-point favorite here.
It's getting there. It's definitely going to get there. People find out.
It's not like it's at Oakland anymore, where they had the crazy fans and you always had like a windy game and wild Vegas. Weather, and just Vegas was so much better, or Oakland was so much better at home. I don't know. It's Tampa Bay's defense looks so good last week. Like, is it a product of because they were playing the Packers and they get up for it? it's like you didn't even notice Vita Vea being gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Tampa Bay's on a mission here. Like, just if you were thinking this was the Patriots, Tom Brady, and because that's really the whole reason everybody bet the Patriots. The defense is just as good now in Tampa Bay as New England's was last year, in my opinion. And if you look at efficiency ratings, absolutely. So Tampa's number 1 in pass defense DVOA. So that is really, really, really good. Number 3 against the run. So a lot of that is factored with Vita Vea, but they looked damn pure last week. I mean, they got Pierre-Paul and the Duncan Sue, Levante David,
I think
Shaq
you say his
Barrett.
name wrong on purpose, but I honestly can't tell.
What?
Ndamukong?
Sue? Oh, yeah.
Ndamukong. Okay. Sia,
I say Ndamukong. I'm one syllable away. I'll get it next year.
And Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I like Tampa Bay a lot here. But this game is very likely to be postponed.
Well, and by the way, it's probably off the board almost everywhere. Like where we're looking, we still see a line, but that's just because like they're going to have the last line up there most likely, as opposed to having it OTB. So this is one of those you just have to wait and see which offensive linemen actually have COVID, because I don't know, maybe this game gets postponed, but if we're talking like the Buccaneers -4, I guess I like the Buccaneers. I mean, it was interesting that the Vita Vea injury didn't seem to be like a thing. And the one thing Derek Carr has been able to do is hit the deep ball with with Ruggs and even Nelson Aguilar. And the back end of this Tampa defense is pretty good. I mean, it's not just that they were good last week. I mean, it's just good, period. So I don't think Derek Carr is going to be able to enjoy that. And so knowing the weapons that Tom Brady has, I just think they end up running away with this one a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And Sia, what odds do you have for the Bucks to make the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh God, it was just an even money bet, and just to make the playoffs. That was it.
All right, 7 spots too.
Biggest home run ever.
7.
Put on a tee.
Oh, that was with Javi though. It wasn't. There wasn't a book that was offering.
Yes,
right. That was during our.
I know.
NFL,
I text him every single week, but you believe in Todd Bowles yet? This past defense isn't good. I was like, what? That was a healthy Packers team. They just destroyed.
They did destroy them.
And so if that game doesn't happen, that's our Sunday night game. I assume another game will get flexed, probably San Francisco Patriots, just because that's just probably what'll happen. But the last game of the week, we have the Bears traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams in that gorgeous stadium. The Bears open at +7. It's down to +6. No respect. The Bears get 0 respect. Sia, are you going to take the Bears? Because they seem like they're going to cover all the spreads. They seem like they're going to win all the games. I mean, actually, I want to see what's the money line, because I think I might just want to take the Bears money line at this point, because it seems like they can't lose any of these games. Money line +240. 97% of the money is on +240 for the Bears money line. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm so surprised this line opened up where it is. It almost makes me think that like there's something we don't know. Now, I definitely think Sean McVay is going to be able to out-scheme this defense. And the Sean McVay offense looked so bad last week. So I see like a bounce back, almost like you saw with the Niners, last week, versus against the Dolphins. So I like the Rams, but there's no way I can take the Rams at -6. I mean, this line to me should be like 3.5. And that would still be slightly disrespectful to the Bears, but it would make sense. And I would probably be on the Rams, but at +6, I mean, I just have to have faith that the Bears defense is just good enough, and that the David Montgomery train, which goes super slow, and Allen Robinson, hopefully can just
far either.
No, that's too many points. I mean, I think the Rams win this game, but it's too many points.
It's definitely interesting, to say the least. And it was only a couple years ago where I think when the Rams offense was at its peak, the Bears held them to like 6 points, I think. But was that game like 8-6? That game was terrible. Thankfully, that was a Sunday night game I did not stay up for, Stix. I just want to let you know that right now. But how do you feel? Bears +6. What's the I think Sia used this word earlier. What's the scuttlebutt in Chicago like? What are they saying? It's boots on the ground.
I haven't listened to talk radio this week, but I like the under. The model has this game projected for 41 points. That is well under 44.5. Yeah.
Still get it 45. Open 47. Yeah. Damn.
Yep. See, again, we missed our chance on Monday, so I probably won't take that. But 47, god damn, that would have been an easy under for me to, yeah. So sharp money was quicker than I was, because I don't look at the model till Tuesday, because I like to breathe on Monday.
Yeah, you also had to think about what to do with all the money that you won on Sunday. I think that helps too.
It's getting reinvested. It's not.
I know.
For, you know.
I hope you take some of it out and go on like a vacation and put a down payment on a house or something. But
Can I even go on vacation?
I have an idea. Or just sponsor a trip to Vegas.
Yeah, and by the way, we're going to Vegas. That's
and I'm obviously just saying that
all day long. Like I won't even be able to hang out. The second I get to a high limit blackjack table, I'll see you guys.
My favorite thing to do when I go and watch my friends gamble is watch my friends gamble. I don't even. So I just enjoy watching. But I apologize. Sia, what were you gonna say?
No, that was it. I'm just looking forward to the Vegas trip. That's all.
Okay.
No, we're going. It'll be great.
I should come. I will come.
Are you? But they're gonna ID you. Do you have a fake? Do you have a fake ID?
I mean, I have a pretty. So my uncle was a cop. So yeah, I've done.
How old are you, Michael?
15.
He's 19. He just turned 19.
Actually, my birthday is November 5th, so I've turned 19 in a couple days.
I'm only 28. I can't grow a beard yet.
Yeah, I have a pretty nice beard. I'll give you that. I'll give myself that. Got a pretty nice beard. November's coming up, gentlemen. You know what that means. What do you got, Sia?
No, I was just saying at 28. I've been like sports betting and like daily fantasy for many years. I don't know, over 20, well over 20. So and on Sunday, Nick eclipsed all that I've won in all of those years. That's how much money Nick won.
Really not that surprising.
Stop there.
Honestly, like because that was a
contest selection.
Contest selection.
We put a lot out there too, so it's like I don't want everybody to think that you could just do that. Like it took.
No, that's fair.
You grinded.
Yeah, you took some risks.
I played a ton of cash games too, but it was a right slate because no one played Lamar and Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry was a bad play. But if you want to know the good plays, come hang out with us. We'll give you obviously a nice hour and a half discussion. Honestly, about 45 minutes of this was just banter and enjoyment. But the other 45 minutes, I think, was actually very, very profitable and very useful. As you see, we do actually win money on the show, which is pretty fun. So
just take note of what Sia says about his industry knowledge on value is second to none. Like that is the lesson for this show. Obviously, we just fuck around and make picks all the time, but
it's fun.
So I do want to add to that because when we were talking about the Niners and Patriots and how that line went from, let's just talk about the Niners. It went from +5.5 to +1.5. Like that's such a line movement that if you like the Niners, you still can't take it. You cannot take that line because you lost 4 points in an NFL game. This isn't like, a college game where the over-under is like, 85 or whatever. You've given up so much value. You either take the Patriots or you just stay away from the game. That's just one of those things. Like you don't always have to get a line early, but 4 points is so much value in an NFL game. Do not bet the Niners. You just can't do it.
Discipline. People follow the process, follow the structure. That is what we are here to do. Help you understand exactly what that process and what those structures are, or what that structure is and what those processes are. But make sure you just pay attention. Sia has been on a hot streak. If you want, as we've been saying, wait. Sometimes it's good to get those lines early. Sometimes it's good to wait because sometimes we have some of those movements late. If you want those lines, like Sunday morning, come hang out with us. WinDailySports.com, our betting membership. We have a house capper who literally his job is to bet on sports. That's it. I think he plays like poker or something too, but this guy is a professional gambler. That's all he does. He gives us his picks. He takes every single one of them. He tells us how many units he's putting on, but we're not really worried about why. We're just worried about winning. So you take it, you listen to him, you win a lot of money. That's what we've been doing. I think he had 5 units on the Titans on that Bills game. And I think, he had the points. So I think it was 3.5. Obviously they crushed the Bills. So that was a joke, but
he also had Arizona. He had at least a couple units on Arizona. That was an impressive pick because there was a lot of people, including myself, that thought it was a nice spot for the Cowboys. And he was like, no, don't do that.
It was very bad. Yeah, pay attention to him. He knows what he's doing. So come hang out there. If you want more DFS, you love Nick, you want to see him a couple more Miller Lite deep like I do right now, go get some of that gold membership. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help. And if you want just free information, we can do that too. WinDailySports.com/chat. Keep going, buddy. You got one more for me?
No, I threw away 2.
Okay.
It's only 6. Just the one say 6-pack.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. WinDailySports.com/chat. 7 free days in our expert Discord chat. You can come hang out, ask Sia all the questions you want about PGA and about NFL. Ask Nick all the questions you want about NFL. We have baseball. We have esports. We have literally everything. We're here to help you win money. As Stix keeps saying, he doesn't care about himself. Obviously, we want him to keep winning because it makes us look really good. But he really does just want you guys to win, and I appreciate the hell out of him for that. And I guess, Stix, where can, in case everybody wants to just DM you their questions on Twitter, where could they go?
At StixPicks, STIXPICKS. And yeah, I'm on to week 7. Let's go.
On to week 7. Sia, where can everybody find you on the internet?
And speaking of Discord, I'm going to be in the Discord chat like in a few minutes for PGA. So like we're always kind of bouncing in between chats and stuff like that.
Tiger's back this week, right?
Tiger is back this week. Yeah.
Ooh.
And it's a course, it's dated, but it's a course where he's had a ton of success. So there's something, I mean, granted it's dated. So, yeah, so it's going to be an interesting tournament. But anyway, you can find me at Sianejad, SIANEJAD.
Yes, and you can find me at Michael Brazil 1. Make sure to hop in that Discord chat again one more time, windailysports.com/chat. And the Rays are winning 5-0. I think Blake Snell still has that no-hitter intact. So
wow.
For Nick, for Sia, for the rest of the Win Daily Sports family, we hope you all make it a very profitable week 7 of the NFL.